Well, good evening. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. For all the new folks, I'm Steve Smith, and it's good to have you here. We've had almost 6,000 people join in the last week and a half, couple of weeks, and it is great to have you all here. I want to talk about the approaching storm in more ways than one. A lot of people got hit hard down in Houston. Last night, the night before, whenever it was. It's the weekend, so I kind of my days kind of get jumbled up. There's another reason, and I finished the 7th book yesterday. A couple of housekeeping items here, and I want to get to the storms, both weather-wise and worldwide. Other kind of storms coming our way. But I finished the 7th book. I just put up on the Stonemont level of the Patreon channel the cover, the book cover that I just finished making final tweaks on the design on that, and I put a little information over there. So I won't go into all the detail right now about the process of what happens now, but it looks like the book will probably be available to the public, both through our website and on Amazon, late June. Looks like it. So it's finally here for everybody who's asking, and it was a fun one to write, and it's a very interesting one to write. It continues the story of Stonemont, of course, and but it's becoming more complicated, and we're addressing many more things. So that's just for those of you who have been asking about the book. It's always an exciting time when I come to the end of a book, and then it's an exciting time when I start a new one, and I've started a new one. I can't tell you about that one yet. We're waiting for a storm right now here in Kansas. It's already coming across Kansas. They got hit hard down in Houston, southeast Texas. I guess, was it yesterday or the day before? And almost 1 million people out of power down there. I think they've got most of them back up, but you can imagine the mess that's down there. And you know, people think about tornadoes, and especially in Kansas, they think about tornadoes as being the big danger, but really there's a lot more damage done from straight line winds and damaging thunderstorms. I mean, not if a tornado hits, it does more damage than a thunderstorm, but overall, you know, you can have probably more damage with the straight line winds. That's what we have approaching us now. That's what happened down in Texas. Wasn't a tornado. We have something called a derecho coming at us. I just checked the weather radar, and it is a scary looking thing. It goes from Oklahoma, it goes all the way up through Kansas. It starts down on the Oklahoma line, and it goes clear up to Omaha, halfway up Nebraska, and it is huge, and it's headed this way. It's still out between Topeka and Manhattan, Kansas, which is kind of where K-State is, Fort Riley, that area. I've written a little bit about that in one of my books. But I looked at it, and it is coming here fast. Now, from what I understand, a derecho, it's spelled D-E-R-E-C-H-O. It comes from a Spanish term. Link will have to tell. If you're with us on the Patreon channel, Link will tell us what it actually means. But the weather people said it means straight line winds, and I looked it up in my little online translator, and it said it means right. So I don't know. Link, what does it mean? But anyway, the weather people use it to describe straight line winds, and they're saying to expect up to 80 to 100 mile an hour winds. I mean, that's hurricane strength. With thunderstorms, of course, damaging winds, heavy rains, and large hail, softball-size hail. I don't know. I mean, it's coming right at us, and from the looks of it, I'll be here in a couple, 3 hours. So we will see. Right now, it's in one of those situations you're kind of wondering, well, is it going to get here? Am I ready for it? Am I prepared? Okay, and I am. We're ready. I hope that, you can imagine what happened down in Texas. I'm sure that there were some people down there who were prepared, and most people weren't. And what's going on in their lives right now, the kids, it's graduation around here, and a lot of the kids are out Zooming their cars. We just got back from a graduation party a couple hours ago. But the difference between those who were prepared and those who were not, I mean, night and day, right? Hopefully the ones who believed it was coming got out, but then, you're not always going to get out. I mean, it could be coming straight for me. I'm not getting out. And I know that we make fun of those people that, are in the hurricane area and they say, hurricane's coming, get out. Well, I'm not getting out. I'm here. This is my home. We're going to batten down the hatches, as it were. We don't have any hatches, but nor do we have any battens. But if we had some hatches, we'd batten them. And we will secure everything. We're ready for, if there are damages. And it could happen. The thing that I want to compare this to is what are the storms coming in the rest of the world, the rest of our lives, We see what's happening. Did you see that the helicopter with the Iranian president on board just went down over, I guess, in the fog in the woods and mountains over there in northern Iran, and they're looking for him. And don't think that this can't be a spark to start the big one. I don't know, but whenever something like this happens with a world leader, well, should I say a world leader of a country that's involved with very, very sensitive things going on with another major power, you have to be careful. First off, you have to wonder exactly what happened. What happened? Don't know. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We probably never will really know. They'll give us a story, but we won't know whether that's true or not. And it doesn't matter. What matters is how it affects you. And so just like with this derecho that's coming our way, I'm probably, Spanish speakers are probably laughing at me right now. I don't know. I did my best. Derecho. So with that coming at us, think about that with the world. What's coming at us? We see the instability of the world. We see the instability of world politics. The wind is kicking up a little bit more. We see the storm coming internally. We see it every day. It's ticking up. It's ticking up. It's ticking up. Kind of like this storm that I'm watching on the radar. I check it, every 10, 15 minutes, and I see it getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. Now, what happens? Sometimes something happens and it goes, whoop, it just kind of skirts by you. But this is not. This is I forgot to say that the term derecho, as a couple of weather sites have described it, is a long line of destructive thunderstorms 400 miles wide. You're not going to escape that, I mean, unless you get on the highway headed east and just try to outrun it until it dissipates. Who's going to do that? I'm not going to do that. But in straight line winds. And straight line winds will tear things up. Maybe I'll get a new roof again. In Kansas, we get a lot of new roofs because of the wind. Every 10 years or so, people get new roofs. But we see that just like I'm watching that line coming across Kansas toward me. We see the storm, the political storm, the social storm, the cultural storm. We see it coming at us too. And I think probably this derecho is probably the best comparison that we've had, and that we see it coming, and there is no way around it. This one is not going to skirt off to the north or to the south and miss us. It's coming. And the only question to ask yourself is, are you ready for it? Is your shelter ready for it? Many people now around here, we're ready for it. It's not gonna take down our house, but there's a lot of places that it could. If your structure isn't up to par, it could blow them away. I mean, you just think about 100-mile-an-hour winds. A hurricane coming through Kansas, about what it is. Mobile home parks, oh, gee. Anybody who's out camping, but what you think, are you ready? Okay, you have your shelter, you have your food, you have your water, and you have now in this, the firearms aren't going to do much good. Unless it takes everything down and then looters show up, right? But I don't foresee that happening. Do you have the things that you need? And here, a lot of times, preppers, and I'm going to do one maybe tomorrow. I was going to do this one earlier, but ran out of time. Preppers, who I call the kind of the lower level preparedness people, and even PMPs, or the prepared-minded people or person. Okay, and that is the one who's made it a lifestyle. It is their preparedness mind that is always functioning. Okay, everything they do, they see, and it shouldn't overwhelm your life. It shouldn't consume your life. It's just that you do everything with a thought towards, how does this improve my preparedness? How does this improve my safety, my security, the stability, for my family? And so most of them are going to be pretty good in the basics, but go beyond that and think about the things that many preppers don't. And that is, if it hits and does damage to your property, do you have to go down and stand in the long line down at Home Depot for plywood and 2x4s and plastic sheeting and duct tape and Flex Seal and all sorts of things? You shouldn't, because that should be a part of your preparedness. And why should it be a part of your preparedness? And most people, I don't think, I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk about this, but I don't think I have either. So I'm certainly not slamming anybody else. It's just not something that most people think about. Do you have those things on hand? Now, a lot of people in the country do, because they don't want to drive an hour. And I just got a comment on one I shot, I think yesterday, was it? Maybe, from a guy who says, "Hey, I'm a fellow Kansan, but I live out north central Kansas. I'm a ways west of you." He's probably getting hit by the derecho right now. He says, "I'm an hour and a half from the nearest Walmart." Now, I'm 5 minutes from my nearest Home Depot and 10 minutes from my nearest Walmart. You see that wind kicking up? But if you and so a lot of people who live out there out in the country, they do keep a lot of that stuff. I mean, I know that from my experience with our farms. At our farms, you wanted to keep stuff handy. You don't want to have to run into town for some nails. So but a lot of people who live more, even in small towns, a lot of people don't keep that in stock at home, and you should. So think about that. This is going to be an interesting little storm system, and we'll see what happens. But I wanted to compare that to the storms that are coming internally and externally as we go through the next 6 months. As we a lot of people say it's going to be a few interesting months up until the election. Well, it's going to be even more after the election. I mean, we're in for some interesting times before the election. There's no way to tell what's going to happen, but when the election happens, it is either going to be interesting either way, but in different ways, and you need to be prepared for that. So prepare for the things that most people would not think to prepare for. Okay, do you have all the medical supplies that you would want? Do you have enough medical supplies to last you a year? You should. I mean, it really doesn't take that much. Excuse me just a second. Okay, yeah, I didn't figure you needed to hear that siren. An ambulance just went by. For the guy who says, and there's always somebody that will come on and say, "Why do you live? I couldn't stand hearing those sirens and all that kind of stuff, and being in the city." I'm not in the city. I'm in the suburbs, and there's a big difference. And some people don't understand. But I said, I don't mind. I like it. You know what that siren meant? That meant that somebody needed help, and help was on the way. The friend of mine whose house we just left a couple of hours ago, his son was graduating high school. He came within minutes of dying over a cardiac issue, and they got there right as his heart stopped. But they got there within 5 minutes. Okay. When you live, one of the many reasons that I live in the suburbs, that's why. Help will get there fast. I've known too many people who died because the ambulance didn't get there in time, or they weren't able to get them to a real hospital in time. So anyway, that was just an aside. So think about those things that you might, kind of gloss over. It's not hard to have a year's worth of medical in your home. Because how often do you really need it? But have those basics. Have your vitamins. Have your supplements if you need them. Have good food, not crap, not just beans and rice and stuff like that. You can survive on it, but you're not going to stay healthy eating that junk. Have good food stored up. Have all the cleaning supplies that you might need. I haven't bought years ago my grocery store had a sale on gallons of soap, Dial soap, antibacterial soap. I forget how many I bought, but I haven't bought soap in 10 years. I guess it was probably 10 years ago that I bought them. I still have a bunch. When you have a chance to stock up on things like that, do it. It was an unbelievable sale. You know how much I've saved over the years? But don't just think about food. Don't just think about water. Don't just think about, protection. Think about those things that actually you need every day on a daily basis, and that is cleaning supplies, medical supplies, all of that. Because you never know. We don't know what's going to happen with not just the storm that's headed my way right now, but with the internal political storms and the shenanigans that might be pulled as part of that process. You might find yourself at the store and they don't have the things you need. The time to get the things you need is now. Stock them up and then keep buying them every day so that you've got a stock of everything you need. Go through it. Okay, well, I hope you all will escape this derecho, and I hope it doesn't blow my house into Missouri because the crime is a lot higher over there in Kansas City. But we will see. So think about that. It's coming. It is coming, just like this storm is coming. It is coming. The political storms, the social storms, and there's no way of getting around it. So ask yourself, are you ready? Take a good hard look. Sit down with other people in your family or group. See if they have ideas that you don't, and get ready, because if you don't and you need something, you'll be sorry. But if you do and you need it, you'll be happy. And that's the whole purpose of preparedness, isn't it? Hey, I didn't even talk about my books except for my 7th one. It's just done. If you're new to me, if you're new to this channel, I'm the author of the Stonemont series. The Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, the Blessings of Freedom, and Hostages to Fortune. And I'm not going to tell you the name of the 7th one for a couple more days. I mean, they know it over on Patreon. But if you really want to know about complete preparedness, I tell people that series is a series of 6 novels in serial form. Great story, but I pack it full of preparedness and survival lessons, comparative justice, about dealing with people, about rebuilding society, about how government ought to work, all those kinds of things, plus a whole lot of exciting stuff in there, and even some love. So if you want those, the links you can get them through Amazon or directly from me. Amazon gets them to you quickly. I don't get them to you as quickly, but I get to sign them for you and write a little note in there for you, and I like doing that. That the links to both Amazon and our website, stonemont.us, are down below. If you're not with us on Patreon, we'd love to have you over there. I put everything on Patreon that I put here, or everything that I put on YouTube, I also put on Patreon. But I put a lot of extra stuff over there too, and it's only $1 a month. Plus, you'll get the information over there about the Integrative Preparedness Stonemont first annual gathering that's happening here in eastern Kansas on July 13th. And I've already received my son, who handles the website and the the orders and everything like that. He's told me we've already got a bunch of RSVPs, responses. It doesn't cost anything. We just like to know, we just like to know who's going to be there, so we kind of know what to plan for. I got a little something planned, and I'd like to know how many people to expect. So anyway, you all have a good night. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with this derecho. And if it doesn't blow me away, I'll probably be back tomorrow. Y'all have a good time. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.